My name is Amanda Stevenson of the Fresh Food Factory Market, and I think there are a few salient points of history that I could actually. Is this one better? Okay. My name is Amanda Stevenson. I could think of a few points in history where I could really focus on and say, okay, I think we were doing great at this moment. Everybody has heard of Fannie Mayhamer. Okay, I'm glad because she was sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I think that's a posture that a lot of us could identify with. But a beautiful thing about her was to build her own city, to make sure that there were freedoms for the people who have been minoritized and have really been undervalued, underserved, undercapitalized, or really taken advantage of. So not only were there clinics and educational institutions, there was a lot of ownership, whether it relates to land ownership, home ownership, business ownership. That's what she was about, really galvanizing and really creating community. And personally, I'm just thinking of a time I didn't really get a chance to meet my grandparents, but the stories that I hear of them and what I hear from my aunt who was remaining, hearing of how they owned blocks of land in Virginia and how my grandmother passed the day that she had to, or the land was actually taken away from her. But that just showed how much they cared about ownership and how they cared about their future, and they sold or leased properties to other people in their community. My grandfather had a barber shop, but it's nothing like having your own and owning your own, so then that way you can be in control of your destiny. And that's something that we all can actually learn from. We have those people in our families and those people that we can really look at as models to actually learn from, and how we can actually build community now, a stronger one than ever before.
Get down for a minute. Delicious, by the way. How's everybody doing? Good afternoon. I am LaRock. I'm the VP and store manager for TD Bank east of the river. Right up the road, Alabama, Marion Barry.
All right.
We celebrated a year. We're the first community store for TD Bank in the DMV, but I'm not here to talk about TD Bank. I'm here to talk about us, wherever we are. The question was, when was the last time I thought we were doing well? I'm uninspired. I mean, that's a loaded question, right? We could go all throughout the history books. I'm a Haitian descent. So I say to any Haitians in the building, or if you know a Haitian, I could go to 1804 when we got our independence, but you see how we're doing now, right? As a result of that. I could go to the 60s, the inspiration around the civil rights movement, right? But I think we're losing some of that. I'm gonna go to something tangible. I'm gonna simply go to my childhood in the 80s. I'm aging myself a little bit. But that was a great time. And I don't wanna go too far back because we lose our younger folks when we go all the way back, 1804, 1800, 1700, 60, right? We go, how about, 30 years ago, right? 20 years ago. Can we take it back to that? What, for me, was a sense of community on the block. And every block had their own community. I remember I used to get hit upside the head. I know you can't do that in 2025. But I used to get hit upside the head by somebody else's mother, right? For looking crazy in these streets or doing wrong. I remember a time that the thug, yeah, he might rob me, but he's walking my grandmother across the street with her groceries. I'm just talking about a time that we took care of each other. And we didn't need the media, we didn't need the attention. We took care of each other block by block. Each block had its character, each block had its grandma, each block had its auntie, each block had its young folks that we know we had to watch over. And we need to get back to that, because when we have these conversations, we're talking to each other. Beautiful, brilliant black people talking to each other, but we know this information. And if we're gonna get the younger ones to hear this and bring them up with us, we gotta stop going all the way back and just go back to what you know is just, what you know is true, and it's still here because we're still here talking about it, right? So just a little something, happy to be here. It's hot, but I'm cool with all the love that's in the room. Thank you.
All right.
Yeah. I think thank you so much for bringing that up, because we have evidence of that right here in DC, right here in New Jersey, right here, not right here in Jersey, but people are from Jersey, wherever you're from. We act as if who we are as people who have created community is something from something a long time ago. But if we look in the room today, right, we're looking at community as it exists today. So what's something that you're saying, that you can say from today, that we're doing right now or could do, that would take us into the future?
Left, right, left. I can honestly say, and by the way, I love me some DC. In case you can't, thank you, brother. Thank you, sis. In case you can't tell by I'm talking, I'm not a native Washingtonian. I can't help where I'm from, but I know exactly where I'm at. And so, what I love about DC, especially in the community store, having people come in, but really not even just about the bank, just walking in these streets, to see the fellowship that is happening, the intentional, the intentionalness, if that's a word, of some of you nonprofits and some of you community organizations. To my right is one sister that embodies that, right, from the conversations that we had. Right now, I'm seeing people get activated in a real way, in a strategic way, an intentional way, and I think we need to keep doing it. Find like-minded people. You don't need $1 gazillion. What you do need is people that have a lot of pride, a lot of knowledge, and the want to, right? So I love that. I'm seeing that. I'm seeing people fellowship. Sometimes it's not the skill, it's the will. And I'm seeing people combine both.
I think that was definitely beautifully said. I think a lot of great things are happening in DC, in Southeast, east of the river, making it hyper-local, but I think that there is an awakening and awareness of what needs to happen, and we don't want these same conversations to be had from generation to generation. We don't want our children to be talking about what we're talking about today. We want to just say, hey, my parents, my aunts and my aunties, they made a difference in 2025 and the last 10 to 2030 that they could actually live from and build upon. There are great institutions here east of the river where we're building community. There are great people who are striving to be landowners and business owners. So I think that's one of, or two of the great things that you could actually look at doing is just how do we maximize the moment? Yes, COVID happened. Yes, there's a new administration. But what can we do literally in each household? How do we actually talk about finances? How do we talk about insurances? How do we talk about and address people understanding trust and how to pass things on to real estate? Because a lot of it was lost. But how do we not repeat and actually just have our children go through the same cycles of failure that we went through? So we do need to educate ourselves as it relates to that, but we also need to help each other to actually do that. Each of us take accountability, look at ourselves in the mirror and say, am I doing my best? Because there's a difference between reasons and excuses. There are programs that are out there that will help, whether it's your banking institution or another nonprofit or another institution that has funding. Let's tap into those opportunities. I'm a part of a collective at Sycamore and Oak where I have one location, the Fresh Food Factory Market. I would definitely speak volumes about them and the community that they created in Congress Heights. On the St. Elizabeth's campus, there are a lot of historic buildings there that we don't want to have our children to see. We don't really like the memories that's associated and attached to those dwellings. So let's raise them all. Let's bring them down and build up a community that will strengthen everybody around that. That's what they're on the pathway to actually do. So I do want to highlight that. And also in Anacostia, whether it's Waco, actually revitalizing and redoing their space to make more creative spaces for businesses unlike before. But again, personally, look at real estate. I'm looking at acquiring. How do we acquire? My grandmother, as I mentioned, died the day that she had to part with her land because that's not something that she wanted to do. So it's been my mission. Let's just acquire everything that I can to rewrite that and to honor her life and legacy, and to make sure that my children actually see something different. And I don't have to really talk about 1817 and my grandmother. They can actually see in real time what's actually being done, and how do I position them for ownership. So I think these are conversations that need to be had. All of us working together, all of us have knowledge, all of us can actually build upon it to help each other out, so all of us can be thriving like the Miss Hamer that I was actually speaking to, because that's really valuable and that's what she's lived. So I definitely want to pass this over to my brother.
Beautiful. Give her a hand on that. Strong black hand for that.
All right.
Let me say that the GoGo Museum I've been there since February 19, 2025. That was the day it officially opened, and I've been there every Saturday since then. I started off as a volunteer. After one tour, Ron said we're gonna have to pay this brother. Because the beautiful part about it is, coming from Washington, D.C., graduating from Duke Ellington School for the Arts, going on, oh that's right, going on to New York City. I lived there for 28 years. I just moved back 8 years ago. But in that time is when I went from a so-called Negro to an African. And when I came back with that knowledge, I had to share what I knew. And this museum is providing a platform to not only teach music, but it is an educational institution. We're teaching African culture, history, right? Politics and education, explaining to them what protest is and how it transformed into policy. We're explaining how DC GoGo becoming the official music opened the door for funding. You know, Arts and Humanities, TD Bank, other organizations give when they see that it's legitimate. And so this organization and nonprofit has really allowed me to share and to connect with people who are really doing something for this community. And Anacostia, again, is the blueprint for us to be able to duplicate this throughout the city.
I gotta give this brother his flowers. I mean, a lot of people do a lot of amazing things. But when we talk about history and what I remember, well, what we read about, we heard about, our stories were passed on through griots, right? Certainly it was for us in Haiti, all throughout the black diaspora, wherever you are, all over the world. This comes from our ancestors in Africa. We shared stories which were history. I'm calling him the young griot. This brother speaks so passionately about not only GoGo, but the way he just nuances the conversation to be able to talk about how GoGo is really our history, and how our history has always been here. Brilliant. Yeah. So we need more of this. When you see him, you call him the young griot. Everybody say young griot. There we go.
What is one, so when we are here, we know that there can be an actionable item, because this is not in theory. We're not having this conversation in theory and something over there that those people on the panel do. We want to be able to walk away with something that we can say, I can go home today and apply this in my household. So what is one thing that you would say, and if you have two, that's fine. While you guys think about that, one I would say is start having family meetings. Start having a family meeting. Decide what your finances are. Talk about your spiritual health of your house. Talk about the emotional health of your house. You can dictate what that looks like. And if you don't know how to, then start asking other people, what can this look like? But family meetings can be a game changer for an immediate family. And they can also be a multiple game changer if you can get other parts of your family together. So that's my actionable item that I suggest to people.
Okay, I'm going to piggyback on that a little bit and just re-emphasize, double down on what I was saying about like really being accountable, really looking in the mirror, really working as family. And that's really what we have to do. We have to realize your family is a close community. We all should be communal with each other. No matter if we agree or not, we can't really keep a lot of the selfish nature or like the things that we know that kind of wrecked us. We all have been broken at some point in life, but we can't let that cripple us. Like, how do we move past that? You know, sorry for what I've done. How do we actually heal together? How do we actually build together? And I think, you know, that's something that needs to actually happen. And also, when we're parenting, sometimes we may not be with the person that we created life with. But we have to figure out how to get along, how to realize, like, look, that person shouldn't be my enemy. We laid down together. We had someone together. We need to actually build together. Let's keep it strong for the future of our last name and make that like, you know, the Welsh and the Ford and all the other names you see. Why couldn't that be your family name, you know, attached to a building, attached to a product, attached to something? We need our family members. We need to stick together. We need to forgive. We need to allow healing to happen as a person, as a family, as a community. that really needs to happen, because I don't really foresee a lot of things happening without that spiritual grounding. Keeping God first and just making sure that that is our pathway forward. Let's keep our families together. How do we forgive each other as a community and say, look, bro, I understand. We don't agree on that. Since we may not agree with cool, but what can we agree on? And let's just try to see how we can just make that better, not just for ourselves, but everybody that's attached to us.
All right.
So everybody gonna go home and forgive somebody. On your list, you forgive somebody.
Start by forgiving yourself first.
Hello? Thank you, because I got about 2 people. And it's only $5, but still, it's the principle, you know what I'm saying? It's the principle. I didn't become a bank of, giving away money. No, and also, and that was beautiful, and I'm kind of going to piggyback on that. And then when we collaborate, we forgive, and when we get with family, we got to talk to the babies about this money, y'all. We got to talk to the babies about this money. They're coming into my bank and other banks and other financial institutions, and they're not really educated. They're not the way that they look at money. And I don't mean educated like book educated. They're not looking at money, understand the power of money. Money is a means to an end. It's not the thing. They're putting their trust in apps. I'm not going to say the apps because I don't want to get sued. But there's certain apps that allows you to move cash. Does that make sense? Right. We're using that, and that's the main bank. We're using the bank of mattress and mattress, which earns no interest and is not FDIC insured. Let's talk about planning, financial planning. And it doesn't always have to be like a 10,000 square, pie in the sky plan. As simple as, how much are you spending on this food, right? Because that's where we can shave some money off to do the thing that you want, right? You gotta take your money to do the things that you need to eventually get to do the things that you want. So I'm begging, I'm pleading with you, talk to the young folks in your families, on your blocks, about the importance of $1. Things are expensive, y'all, in case y'all haven't noticed, right? And it's not going down, right? But we're not talking to our kids in the right way. They still have the same financial habits when we might be in a recession. I don't know, right? When you see what's happening out there, so please talk to these banks. Come to TD Bank, come to my branch, go to our website. You don't want to come see me, that's fine. Go to our website. There's a budgeting tool there. It's free. Use it. Talk to them about this credit. It's never too soon to start it. The people that I know that's doing the best in terms of my circle, and I know some millionaires. I know some folks with some money. It's the people with the better credit. The people with the better credit are doing better. They're able to buy the houses they want to buy. They're able to move and rent in the buildings that they want to live in. They can buy a car in 2025, a new one, because they have the credit. So please talk to them about this money. Give them the basics, and then I promise you I'll take it from there.
For me, it's education. These young babies have to learn the history that you and I were denied. We don't spend enough time going to museums, reading books, having time when we cut the phones off, cut the television off, and have time to talk about history, talk about the culture. The importance of history is this. It's the ability to connect it to what happened 10,000 years ago to what happened 10 minutes ago. That's what a history is supposed to do. It's not just dates and events written down. History has emotion in it. History has revolution in it. And so we have to spend more time with these children reading. Living in Washington, D.C., if your children don't know who Benjamin Banneker is, you have failed. If your children don't know who Mayor Marion Barry is, you have failed. If they don't know who Frederick Douglass is, if they don't know who Chuck Brown is, if they don't know these people who Duke Ellington, you go on and on, all of the vanguards, the heroes and sheroes who have come from Washington, D.C. You've got to know this history. But you've got to teach it to yourself first, parents. You've got to know it before you teach it to the children. So I'm asking everyone to please make a time for your children to learn. Go to the bookstores, show them books. We've got one right here in Anacostia Center, brand new bookstore. Let's support the sister before she goes out of business. All right? So each one teach one. And that's how we help to liberate ourselves.